Hello, my name is Brenda Hennigan.
And I'm Tom Foley, and we're here today in the Institute of Technology Sligo, which is our starting point for our mini documentary, which looks at the constitutional changes proposed in the upcoming children's rights. We're looking to see whether this children's rights referendum will change things so that children have a voice and they have more likelihood of a life of plenty rather than a life of deprivation.
I'm standing outside the Garda Office for Children and Youth Affairs in Sligo. We're hopeful to talk to one of the juvenile liaison officers that work with families. However, due to clearance from the Garda Press Office, we're unable to do so. There is clear and ample evidence that the state in the past has made dreadful mistakes in regard to the welfare of children. This constitutional amendment is designed to fully vindicate and protect the rights of children. But in light of mistakes made in the past, it has to be a concern that the state has the power, with the full weight of the Constitution behind it, to forcibly remove from the family home a child and place with a new permanent family. The practical effect of this monumental change of policy has potential, as has shown in the past, for abject failure. In practice, should this happen, what are the consequences? The High Court sits in this building behind me next week. It is in just a session that practicalities relating to children's rights will ultimately be vindicated or validated, depending entirely on the interpretation of these constitutional changes.
Could you give us your opinion on the proposed upcoming change to the Constitution?
To be honest with you, I don't seem to know any constitution changes or anything that's going to change.
Well, you're in good company, because it seems that most of the people we've talked to today, they feel very ill-informed. There hasn't been much information given on it, so it's the same for yourself.
Yeah, same for myself as well. Yes. I know nothing about it, absolutely nothing about it.
So. That's grand. Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'd just like to get your opinion on the proposed upcoming change to the Constitution.
I wouldn't know anything about that. I wouldn't know nothing about
You seem to be, like a lot of people, seem very ill-informed about what's coming. There hasn't been much leaflets through the door or
not much on the news or anything about it or anything like that.
Very, very little, yeah. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for your help. Hello. Can I ask you, what do you think is the most important aspect of the proposed change to the new Constitution?
Well, to be very honest with you, I haven't been really informed by it yet, so I really don't know the answer to that question.
That's great. Well, that's grand. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I'd just like to ask you whether you're concerned that there's been virtually no debate on the proposed changes to the new referendum on children's rights.
Well, I suppose the first thing I would say to that is that all of the referenda we've had in recent times, have involved the Lisbon Treaty or the Nice Treaty, huge documents, and there were arguments about every single sentence and every single paragraph. This is much more straightforward in the sense that it is replacing one small article in the Constitution with another. That doesn't make it less important, but the extent of the debate is much narrower. I think the other reason perhaps why there hasn't been a great deal of debate is that virtually all of the political parties, as far as I'm aware, are agreeing with the change. All of the different NGOs, there are very, very few people who feel that this is a backward step, that it's a negative step. A lot of people really think that it's time that we ensured that the rights of children were enshrined in our Constitution specifically. And I think the reason many people think that is because we would like to deal with some of the awful cases that we've heard of over the last few years. So I think taking all of those things together, perhaps people have felt there isn't so much need for debate. But it is very important, in my view, that people read what comes in their door, look at what's there and what we're replacing it with, and then decide for themselves in their own mind and in the best interests of the children of Ireland whether they think this is a good idea or not.
Well, that's absolutely it. It's the best interest of the child that we're looking for.
Yes, it is. And I think that's very important here, because all of our rights are vindicated in the Constitution. But for the first time ever, we are going to vindicate the rights of children specifically in our
The proposed change to the Constitution.
Well, probably a little more research needed, I think.
Yeah, I think, well, it seems to be the same for most people. They feel very ill-informed about
very
upcoming changes. So you'll be in the same boat. Nearly everyone we've spoken to today has been of that opinion, that they haven't been very well informed. So it's interesting.
Yeah, rushed, I think.
Thank you rushed is right. Thank you very much for your opinions. Marion, how would you answer those that say that childhood is becoming more controlled by institutions outside the family, and this constitutional change will only give more power to those institutions.
Well, I can see where people are coming from with that, but as I said earlier, I look very carefully at what we're taking out of the Constitution and what we're putting in. And I think it's worth doing that. If you look at the current article that's there at the moment, it says, in exceptional cases. The article we're putting in starts with exactly the same words, in exceptional cases. So that's the same. And then it's where the parents fail. The current article says for physical or moral reasons. The one we're putting in will say that if they fail to the extent that the safety or welfare of their children is likely to be prejudicially affected. So it's more talking about the safety and welfare of the children rather than the reasons why the parents fail. So there is a difference there, but I think the difference is a positive one because it's more in the interest of the child. The next difference is, in the current article it says, the state as guardian of the common good by appropriate means shall endeavour, etc. The new article says, the state as guardian of the common good shall by proportionate means, as provided by law. In other words, it's really quite similar, and this time it's saying that the state can legislate. So I can understand that people have concerns. But it's also, and I think this is critical to remember, no article in the Constitution stands on its own. Mm-hmm. It has to be taken in conjunction with all of the other articles. And we have Article 41 on the family and on the fact that the family is the basic unit of society, and all the protections for the family still remain in our Constitution. None of them are changed. So I think what we're doing here is we are adding in the rights of children, extra, if you like, or alongside or parallel with the rights of the family. And to me, I think the safety net is in place, and I think we have not gone too far on this one. And I think what we're trying to do is to balance the rights of the family and the children.
And I suppose ultimately it'll be up for the judiciary to decide any ambiguity that might exist.
Indeed it will, and that's why we have our courts, and that's why we have our High Court and of course our Supreme Court to interpret the Constitution. But I think, to me, the most important words in the new article that we hope to put into the Constitution, or that we will vote on, is the three words, in exceptional cases. And it's where the parents fail in their duty to children, where the safety of the children is compromised, that the state can, by proportionate means, intervene. You know, I think that's what most of us would want for our children. And, you know, while there is, I understand very well the concerns of people, it's what they call competence creep, where, you know, there's more and more competence or power to the state. Mm-hmm. But we've seen too many cases in this country where the state didn't intervene because it didn't have the power or the competence to do so. I think now we're giving that power, and as you say, the judiciary will use it, but it must be proportionate and it must be in exceptional cases, and it can only happen where parents fail in their duty such that the safety of the children are compromised.
Marion Harkin, MEP, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Despite the best efforts of the Yes campaign, as of today, the 3rd November, they have delivered 68,400 leaflets, 1,328 new sign-ups to the Yes campaign, 200 plus volunteers recruited, hundreds of pictures distributed, 73 housing estates canvassed, 41 bus stop events, 23 counties visited, 18 Sunday masses canvassed. Despite this, of the many people we interviewed over the course of the filming, we did not meet one person that was well informed. Where has it all gone wrong?
And finally, the Yes campaign has implicitly stated many times that had these proposed changes been in place, both the Roscommon and Kilkenny cases would not have happened. We leave you with this and ask you to ponder this promise for the future.